I actually wanted to be 100% sure, so I looked up the definition of the word terrorism. I was like, it's time. I'm going to look it up. I want to find out what it is they've been saying I do this whole time, you know? And I looked up the definition of terrorism. It'll blow your mind out. The definition of terrorism is using violence to achieve a political goal. Oh, America's never done that. I laughed out loud when I saw that definition. If the definition of terrorism is using violence to achieve a political goal, America is the biggest terrorist country of all time. Of all time. If that offends you, change the definition or change history, okay? Because that is what we specialize in. That is what we specialize in. And I noticed that when I say this in the United States, people kind of, they get a little taken back. You know, they're like, ah, I'm not a terrorist. Don't call me a terrorist. Stop calling me a terrorist. I am not a terrorist. And it's like, relax, I'm not calling you a terrorist. I'm not saying that you're a terrorist, okay? I'm simply saying that you're a terrorist sympathizer, okay? That's all I'm saying. You're a terror simp, as the kids would say. You're out there simping for the tea. Yeah. Listen, it doesn't have to conflict you internally. You can be aware that if you live in the United States, you're part of a global terror regime. You can be aware of that. It doesn't mean you can't love your country and not want to make it better. In fact, I argue that you cannot make your country better unless you actually know about the dirty shit we do overseas. I argue that you don't actually love your country if you can't call us a terrorist, okay? Because you gotta know who you love. You gotta love who you know. And this doesn't have to like change your internal value structure. Like if you still want to use the word terrorist, you can, but you got to use it consistently, right? Like if you want to call a one-person suicide bomber, or as I call them, a one-man band, if you want to call them a terrorist, that's fine, okay? But then you also have to call the drones dropping bombs on entire nations terrorism as well. Because it's all terrifying to the people who receive it. When we use the word terrorist, it's very hypocritical for us to use in the West if you know anything about our history. But the word terrorist is also racist. It's also racist. And if you don't believe me, it's very quick little proof. Okay? Just close your eyes for one moment. Okay? I'm not gonna blow myself up. That's not the point of them. You're looking at me like, no. That's not like, and boom, and now you get it. And that's not what I was trying to do. Okay, if you're not scared, if you can just close your eyes for a moment. Okay? All right, now I'm going to say the word terrorist. What do you see? You're racist, exactly. So that was simple. Most of us saw the same guy. Okay? And don't worry, it's not your fault. You know, the media has trained you to see it that way. And so I invite you from now on, when you hear the word terrorist, I want you to look at who they're talking about. Whether it's in the media or casually in conversation, look at who people are talking about. It's almost always going to be the same type of person. It's going to be brown skin, Middle Eastern, Muslim person, or Luigi for some reason. It's going to be, they threw Luigi in there. They're just like, whatever, they all use olive oil or whatever. So. And yes, occasionally people do call Trump supporters terrorists, but they call them domestic terrorists. You know what I mean? Like they're the domesticated ones. And we're like the wild ones out here, you know? We're like the feral terrorists, you know? It's like, we're the terrorists, you know? It's messed up. It's messed up. But it's definitively a racist word. Case in point, in this country we have mass shootings. That's like our national sport right now, okay? We're killing it. No, we are now at the point where we have shooters of all races, so we do believe in DEI shooting, okay? Celebrate the victories if you wish, but yes, so occasionally you will have a Muslim shooter, and when you do, what happens in the media? They drop that T word so fast, right? They're like, this was an act of terror, or was he part of ISIS, or has he been radicalized? Like, don't bring math into this, okay? Leave math out of this, okay? But then when you have a white shooter, which we do occasionally, let's be honest, you just don't hear that T word. You just don't hear that T word. What do you hear? He was a lone wolf, you know, or he was a man on a mission. Yeah, man had a manifesto, you know, or mental health is important. Let's talk about mental health awareness. And it's like, yay, good job. Good job for finally realizing that mental health is important. Congratulations, America. I'm glad you finally realized that it actually matters that we have a healthy mind. Congratulations. Good job. No, seriously, good job. Mental health is very important. It is. Mental health is extremely important, and I'm glad that we are finally embracing it. But why is mental health only coming up when we're talking about white villains? Okay? Why can we not equally apply the concept of mental health to our fellow brown villains who also could use the therapy? Okay? This is a real point I'm making. I'll ask you this. Have you ever in your entire life heard this? You know, Osama bin Laden, did he have like depression or something? No, you don't hear anything remotely close to that. Okay? Meanwhile, there's like 3,000 documentaries like, was Hitler okay? Like, shut the up, dude. Shut the up. Stop making documentaries about Hitler's mind, okay? At least make a few about Osama, you know? But it's a racist word. And you can ask anybody who looks like me, or anybody in this category. We don't even feel comfortable getting angry in public because people see that terrorist trope in us. We don't have the same freedom to public bursts of outrage like the rest of y'all. Yeah. But right now I feel a little limited, you know, because if I'm at line at the bank and the line's too long, and just like anybody else, I get angry at the line being too long, you know, just like we all do. I can't show it, because if I show it, I'm like, fuck this place, man. Fuck this place, man. Fuck this place. Somebody's gonna see like, oh. If you see something, say something. Hey, I see the terrorist coming. He probably wants to blow himself up and blow this whole place up. And it's like, I do, but I'm not going to, okay? I just have the thought like a normal human being does. What normal human being doesn't want to blow themselves up at the bank, okay? It's a normal human emotion, and I'm allowed to have it. Okay? I hope you do understand why the word terrorist is racist. And people try to flip it. They'll be like, how come every time there's a terrorist, it's a Muslim? Because you fucking call them that, motherfucker. You're the fucking one out there perpetuating that. So really, we have two options at this point to make the word unracist. We can either call everyone a terrorist equally, anybody who does a violent act, and you're a terrorist, 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 you know? And if that doesn't work, jihad. But, I'm kidding. There's one more option before that. The other option, which I like and I think we could try, is we take the word terrorist back and make it cool. Who's with me, kids? Come on. Yeah. Where my terrorists at? Come on. Where my terrorists at? Yeah. And I know people get uptight when I talk about this stuff. Like, oh, you're just going to make jokes about terrorism? You're just going to make jokes about bombs and people dying? Like, yeah, the f*** I am, dude. The f*** I am. You think I'm just going to see this shit and not talk about it? It is not normal. We cannot just continue to let this shit happen. It is not normal. We have to talk about it. And you know what? I'm going to make jokes about it. I'm going to make jokes specifically. You want to know why I'm going to make jokes? Because jokes are the #1 form of nonviolent resistance. Did you know that? Jokes are the #1 form of nonviolent resistance.